And there were situations where when somebody new walks up, like, oh, how do we accommodate this person? We had a challenge.
And I sing a song that will cheer us by the way. In a little while we're going home. For the night will end in the everlasting day. In a little while we're going home. In a little while, we shall cross the billows foam. We shall meet at last when the stormy winds are past. In a little while we're going home.
We believe that it is your plan, and we believe that you will guide us. May the program that has been prepared bring glory to your name, honor to your name, and also bring blessing for each one of us.
On behalf of the away team, I welcome you all to this Vespers, this Sabbath. I hope you all had a good week and that you are happy that Sabbath has come so that we could spend time with God again and give Him all the glory and praise and thanks that He deserves.
So this particular name came to my mind because for two reasons. One is Moses, his life and his very birth was had a purpose, and two, how he fulfilled his purpose was not which was how Moses wanted it to. But still, when God has a plan for you, Moses' life is an example. And there are other stories also. When God has a plan for you, his will be done.
On Jordan's stormy banks I stand and cast a wishful eye to Canaan's fair and happy land where my possessions lie. I am bound for the promised land. I am bound for the promised land. Oh, who will come and go with me? I am bound for the promised land.
The reason I like Daniel is because he never gave up praying. Though he faced so many challenges and so many trials and temptations, he used to pray 3 times a day. So during this pandemic, most of us got a chance to pray 3 times a day. So I have decided, even after the situation becomes normal, I have decided to pray 3 times no matter what.
One of my plan or my ideas was to make sure that I could at least get 3 or 4 of my friends, make sure that they were there, present in the church when such a discussion would happen, so that
We took up this, like, okay, let's start meeting people. And there were at least 4 people on different occasions where we wished them, hi, happy Sabbath, nice to see you at church. Where are you from? Is this your first time? And they said, we're attending your church for the last 2 years.
Love divine, all love's excelling, joy of heaven to earth come down. Fix in us thy humble dwelling, all thy faithful mercies crown. Jesus, thou art all compassion, pure unbounded love thou art. Visit us with thy salvation, enter every trembling heart.
So I've been to multiple churches and I've seen the same thing happening everywhere. Even in Jamaica, I have seen the same thing happening before the divine service starts. That is just because most of them come just to attend the divine service, just before the divine service starts. So you will have a big number of people. During that time, we can just have a song played, or we can just plan out what can be done. And then each person has to greet at least 3 to 5 people around.
O rock divine, O refuge dear, a shelter in the time of storm. a shelter in the time of storm. Mighty rock in a weary land, cooling shade on the burning sand, faithful guide for the pilgrim band, a shelter in the time of storm.
The reason that I stopped coming to church is I never felt welcome in this church. Though she coming from a very uh, simple background. She is a converted Adventist, and so she said, I never felt that warmth among you all. She said, in all these 1.5 years,
We need to listen to them because we often think that we know, because we also went through the same thing. So we try and think that we also know what they're going through and might not take it from their personal aspect. So I just hope, or I felt that I need to understand them personally and help them in whatever way I could to help them to make sure that the distraction or whatever temptation they're having would not over would not disturb them so much, and that I could help them in keeping the distraction or the temptation or the sin away for them and helping them. So that was intent. And when shall I reach that happy place and be forever blessed? When shall I see my Father's face and in His kingdom rest? I am bound for the promised land. I am bound for the promised land. Oh, who will come and go with me? I am bound for the promised land.
after being victorious, as soon as he goes back to his home, the first thing that enters the door of his house, he would offer as a sacrifice to the Lord. And eventually, Jephthah wins the battle. God gives him victory. And with this joy and happiness, Jephthah returns home. And as soon as he returns home, all his joy has been shattered, because the moment he reached his home, the door of his house, he sees his one and only daughter coming out of the house, singing and dancing, celebrating the victory of her father.
To conclude, just one last thing I would say is when Moses died, there was a battle for his soul. When I died, probably whenever that would happen, I would always like to God to step in for me to say, okay, this is my child.
When I was in kindergarten and primary, when Noah's lesson came, the memory verse was Genesis chapter 7 verse 1. It was Genesis chapter 7 verse 1, which says Noah is a righteous man. And that was, at that time I didn't think much of it, but then when I read the whole Bible, I noticed that that verse is never mentioned anywhere else. Except for Jesus, there are so many other Bible characters, but none of them are mentioned that like Elijah is a righteous man or Elisha is a righteous man. It's not clearly mentioned. Of course, they are righteous, not that they're not righteous, but they are righteous, but it's not really mentioned. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. Sowing in the morning, sowing seeds of kindness, sowing in the noontide and the dewy eve, waiting for the harvest and the time of reaping. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheep, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves. Sowing in the sunshine, sowing in the shadows, tearing near the clouds, now winter's chilling breeze. By and by the harvest and the labor ended, we shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheep, bringing in the sheep, bringing in the sheep. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheep, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheep. John, I'd like you to share.
Speaking on such topics is very, very contradicting. And when I say something, you might not like it. When you say something, I might not like it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In a little while, we shall cross the billows foam. We shall meet at last when the stormy winds are past. In a little while, we're going home.
Dear Jesus, help us all and strengthen our faith, dear Lord. Help us to have faith even as small as a mustard seed that would help move the mountains, that would help all of us overcome the fears that are in front of us.
The Bible, in one sermon, preacher tells that Bible is an album where in every story you see a picture of Jesus. So I think we should look at this album every day, if possible, multiple times a day.